Hello there.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Jedi Knights. This is episode 22. I'm your moderator, Christian Buckley, joined by my Chewie, Mike Connors.
Your partner in crime.
Yes.
Your co-pilot of the Millennium Falcon.
Yes.
Your person who you sit next to during this podcast.
Am I the only person who understands you?
I think you might be the only person who understands me.
Well, it's an honor.
You and like my mom.
That's fair. I'll take that. That's a compliment. We have a slightly different episode this week.
Okay. Yeah.
Because we are still going through our Clone Wars stuff in the second half of the show, but we have some news to discuss.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be a news-heavy one.
For sure.
Last week, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
This week, big time.
Yes, because normally, we'll get into it, but we delayed the show this week because of an event that happened in LA very late at night.
Wait, we didn't delay the release of the show.
We delayed the recording.
Yeah, okay.
And we're going to dive into that. But before we do, different opening segment this week.
Forgot Mad Libs.
Yeah, I don't want people to think that like I chickened out because was Watto the last one.
Yeah, you did a good job with that, though.
Thank you.
I thought it was good.
Thank you. I thought it was respectable.
I thought it was respectful.
Mad Libs will return when I remember to bring it next week.
Yeah,
but,
please do.
We have a new segment called Willpower, this time spelt with an H.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I have no idea what this is.
So recently, I sent you this actually.
Yeah.
I saw a handful of tweets about pre-orders going live for new merch in the Star Wars universe, specifically Mandalorian merch.
Yeah, well, specifically within Mandalorian.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's 3 things I have pulled, and I want to know if you have the willpower to not go in on these things.
Wow, this is really creative. Good
Thank
for
you.
Yeah.
Do you want to go most expensive to least expensive, or?
Least expensive to most expensive.
Okay, so we got these big head Lego boys. Have you seen those in stores before?
Big head Lego boys.
Yeah, so like you buy it. I think it's usually a 2-pack. It might be a 1, but I don't think it's more than like $25.
Okay.
It's Lego pieces, and you're basically constructing what looks like a Lego version of a Funko Pop. And you can get one.
I haven't seen these, I don't think.
Okay.
Does that say something about me? I know what a Funko Pop is. I don't know what the big head is, though.
So it's like this. It's called Brickheads. It looks like this. Like it looks like it has the weird cartoony eyes.
I've literally never seen this before, but okay. I understand the concept.
So they have one.
Are they like? Do you know what you have before?
Yes.
All right.
They're selling one now that is Mando, and they have one that's Baby Yoda. Do you think that design, that aesthetic, is cute enough to really get across Baby Yoda for like $25?
I'd have to see it. I think honestly, the Baby Yoda one might be cuter than the Mandalorian one. Not saying that the Mandalorian is cute. Pedro Pascal is cute, though.
Here we have, I'll put it up on screen for viewers, but that is what we have right now.
Okay. No, I wouldn't buy this.
I don't think I would either. So, moving up the scale, $60. An animatronic Baby Yoda doll,
this, yeah.
$60. It coos, tries to use the Force. TBD if it actually does move things, but
yeah, I honestly would buy this. $60 is not a lot of money for something like this. How big is it?
I think it's life size.
Oh my god.
Or slightly shorter, maybe.
Is it in the?
I think it comes with the cradle, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I'd buy this.
I mean, it's not as like accurate as that replica we talked about a couple weeks ago that was like 300.
I don't care.
But this one's alive.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so that one's a definite purchase.
That's a huge purchase
for the Connors household.
Yeah, definitely. I want Baby Yoda in my house.
All right. Well, going up the scale, one more.
Wait, would you buy it?
Maybe.
Okay. You can say no.
No, the thing is, I do want a Baby Yoda life-size thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
You would shell out the money for...
Potentially.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I had the money, yeah, I'd spend it on that.
Yeah. But this one's alive, so that has a buff on it, you know?
True. We need an animatronic, realistic one.
Yeah. Finally, though, 130 Washingtons.
Sure.
A Mandalorian Lego set, which is the Razor Crest.
Yeah.
Comes with the figure of Mando, Grief Karga, IG-11, one of the Scout Troopers, and a mini special figure of Baby Yoda. I think I might pre-order this.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really huge into the Legos. I have
Mhm.
to be honest with you, so I would not.
I'm not either, but the only times I've thought about going in on them recently, one was for Kylo Ren's TIE silencer from Episode 8.
Cool.
Thought about getting that one, and now this, like, might have to.
Yeah.
If we get $130 on Patreon, I might actually go in on it,
Yeah,
make
you
some
should.
content out of it. But
It does look really cool.
it does.
It looks very, very cool, and all the minifigures are.
The doors on the side slide too, and you can see his frozen bounties on the inside. And
Oh,
carbonite.
seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's very cool.
There's some cool touches to it.
I went to a Lego store recently. Very quick tangent.
Mhm.
They had a big Star Destroyer, and it was crazy.
Mm-hmm. Would you ever go in on one of those like big purchase ones, like a Death Star or?
Oh, I would want to like build with somebody.
Yeah.
One of them. You want to buy like the collector's edition Millennium Falcon?
I'll look into it.
It's like $800.
Oh wow, that's something.
Support us on Patreon.
Please. But it's nice to know that both of us, I guess, apparently are sheep for Star Wars and will buy anything
Yeah,
in the galaxy.
bought some stuff from the past. I won't stop now.
And it doesn't seem like either of us are going to stop in the future, because we have a lot of things to buy in the next calendar year.
Yep.
Starting in August, because the event we teased,
Yes.
Project Luminous, the reveal, which was announced at Star Wars Celebration 2019.
Finally had its own day.
Yeah.
This past Monday.
Yes, it was at around midnight on the East Coast for some ungodly reason.
Yeah.
Not live streamed, live tweeted. It was fun following the hashtag. Hard to parse out the information, the hype, and people thinking like, oh, they're remaking the Old Republic. It's like, yeah, I saw that tweet 18 times.
I don't really think that's what they're doing at all.
They're not.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny that
It is
so many
funny.
people think they're so clever. It's like, Disney's trash. They're remaking the Old Republic. And then, like, we'll get into it, but this is a very different era.
Yeah, it is quite a different era. I didn't watch this at 12.
Mm-hmm.
I had to work today,
Yes.
and so I didn't really have the time to even read into this as
Mhm.
much. And I told you this before we started recording, so whatever Christian's about to say, a lot of it I don't know the details.
Yes.
I know the bare bones of it all.
Mhm.
I saw the video.
And our listeners may be in the same situation.
Very true.
So we're going to parse this out. What's the critical info, what we're excited about, and what to look forward to. And I would also say, as an asterisk beforehand, yes, this is a publishing effort, so books and comics, but I don't think it's unreasonable to think that they're not establishing all of this lore for a reason.
Yeah.
And I think we could, down the line, eventually get a movie or a show or a video game
Mhm.
that takes place in the High Republic.
I'd say it's more than likely.
I would as well,
Yeah.
and we're going to get into that.
Yeah.
I think there's some evidence that makes me think.
Yeah, I think I do think that there's going to be a movie at some point, but
Well, very good. Let's talk about Phase 1 of Project Luminous. First off,
they're calling it phase.
they're
one.
calling it Phase 1
Yeah.
because this is a multi-year initiative. Everything that we're going to go through is just Phase 1 of the High Republic. More stories and more licenses are coming on board to publish stories. So we have names like IDW, Marvel, a few other notable book publishing services. Viz is a streaming service, I think,
Never heard
or
of
a manga
Viz.
service.
Is it streaming service for what?
Anime.
Anime. Yeah.
So, but like it also has a manga publishing. So maybe Star Wars manga at some point. Could be interesting. But it's going to be a big deal for the readers of the world. Before we hop into it too deep.
Of which I'm really not one.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
To be
I'm not
honest.
really either.
Yeah.
I used to read a ton,
Same.
you know, I loved reading. And then it's funny, I'm in college now and I feel like I do less reading than I did as a child.
Yeah, I mean, I do writing as a living.
Yeah.
And so when I'm not writing, sometimes you just don't want to read. Which is
Fair.
like the opposite of most writers, to be honest.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, whatever.
But
I'm different.
From everything that we saw, everything we're about to get into, I am excited to check out these projects. We have a little bit of ways to go before we get our first project from Project Luminous, which is launching in August of this year.
August 20th.
Yes. So I may pick up a book written by one of these writers to just get my feet wet, see what Star Wars EU, modern EU, is all about.
Mm-hmm. I would say that I not may pick this up. I will pick this up for sure. I just want to read the first book at least.
Yeah. So the concept of this
All of it.
All of it.
Okay.
It's an idea that formed to tell a massive interconnected story within this universe, and it was pitched in 2014. So before Force Awakens even came out.
Right.
Which is kind of crazy considering there's a lot of people that criticize Lucasfilm and their, I guess, ideology of this sequel era for not feeling like it had a plan. But from not day one, but maybe like year 2, they were like, hey, conceptually, wouldn't it be cool if we had this branching narrative, it all connects and fleshes out a new part of the universe? So it's just interesting that that's when it started.
Yeah.
Because at the time of release this year, it would have been 6 years since the whole thing began.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's cool to know that this has been in the works for
yes,
a long, long time.
And I would not be surprised if over those 6 years they have planned out maybe a decade's worth of storytelling.
Oh, yeah. I think a lot of the footage that we saw from that like 2018 thing, they had already figured out most of it.
For sure.
If not all of it.
So recapping some of the information that is in that video, Ian McCaig, I'm not sure how to pronounce it properly.
No idea.
They're bringing him on to design characters for this initiative of the High Republic. And he is notable because he did several designs for the prequels, including Padme and Darth Maul.
Darth Maul, huge time.
Yeah. Darth Maul is an iconic character.
Yeah, so is Padme too.
Padme is too, yeah.
Her like regal.
For sure. She has like Padme, I feel like almost every look for Padme is like you can recognize immediately who it is.
Yeah. No, and they're very striking, that's for sure. I do agree with you on that.
So it's cool bringing in someone who would normally do concept art for a film to flesh out things that, aside from comics, we're probably not going to see much of.
Right. Do you think he's going to be like illustrating comics straight up?
Probably not.
That'd be interesting though.
It would be. Maybe like a limited series at some point, like you know how or sometimes in comics, like the big names for artists will do like short series.
Yeah.
Or have certain like a set amount of issues on a run before they dip out and let the regular artist return or something like that. So maybe.
Interesting. That'd be cool.
For sure. The books and comics that are coming are going to fill the gap between movies. So similar to how in the 90s, as a lot of people were bringing up when this was coming out, of Shadows of the Empire existing as comics, books, toys to fill the gap between the original trilogy and the prequels. This is going to be doing the same thing, probably over a shorter period of time, because as of right now, the next Star Wars movie is 2022.
I don't understand what you mean by it's going to be filling a gap, because is there really a gap?
I would say there's less of a gap now for sure than there was in the other days.
Yeah, Shadows of the Empire was really kind of just a project to get people excited about the re-release of the special editions and stuff.
Definitely. And in an age now with Plus, where we're at least getting like one series a year, if not two, if we get another animated series next year.
True.
Like Rebels coming back or something like that.
Oh, need that time.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to ever be in a Star Wars drought like we were in previous eras.
Yeah.
So it's definitely like still a marketing spin, you know, of like, oh, while you're waiting, here's all these other things you can buy.
For sure.
But considering it is a new, fresh era and corner of this timeline and universe, it's interesting starting it here, starting with projects like this.
It really just makes me wonder whether or not the movies that they've been talking about, if they're going to take place in the same time period.
I mean, I would kind of hope so.
I would too. It would feel weird.
Yeah. And I think like right now we know this is the Rian Johnson trilogy. For as far as we know, that's still working out. Benioff and Weiss departed, and they were planning multiple films.
Yeah, they were.
And considering their background with Game of Thrones and like just the vibe you get from Game of Thrones, I could very much see them and their style of storytelling fit in with the High Republic as we've been described of what it is.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. I mean, I don't know. It would be cool though. Imagine this. Hypothetical.
Sure.
They have the High Republic for their publishing effort, like that sort of thing. And then they have something else for their movies and TVs.
Like the Old Republic, maybe?
I'm just saying it could happen.
No, I think that's a fair thing to think, because I totally think with what they've described of this, I think the Old Republic might lend itself better to film, because you do have the Jedi Sith War, and I think that could be more visually
impressive,
like you could really like dive in on it.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
But you know, honestly though, the only detracting point to that is whether or not it would get too confusing for the average consumer.
For sure, because there, like I said, on Twitter, within 10 minutes of this thing getting announced, several tweets of thinking this was the new version of the Old Republic.
Right. And then like if they have the Old Republic and the High Republic and they're two different efforts.
Yeah. And then we have the normal Galactic Republic that we know from the prequels.
Right.
But everybody seemed to forget that it was called that, because they were like, oh, another Republic? But like we have that Republic with Palpatine. We have the Old Republic from Legends and the MMO. We have the High Republic now, the New Republic from the sequel trilogy. So there is a lot of like terminology with this where I could see them maybe coexisting fine, but I do think that's something worth bringing up.
Oh yeah, I think they could. There's a way to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know what that way is, but I think they could figure something out. It's just,
I agree. So what is the High Republic exactly? The High Republic, as it was described, get this, the Jedi Knights of the Round Table.
Yeah.
I'm into that.
Okay.
I don't think you are, though.
No, I don't think I am either.
Do you know why?
I think it's a little too on the nose.
Yeah, sure. Like, it's like you combined literally like a sentence that just is like, oh, like those tweets where it's like sub in a word and make something new. It's like, okay, add Jedi to Knights of the Round Table.
Yeah, literally. It's like King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, but
yeah,
Jedi.
But hearing it for the first time, I've never heard anyone say that, and I was like, oh, okay.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like, I never heard anybody ever pitch Jedi Knights of the Round Table.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, I've never heard that before.
Which I thought was kind of cool, because, like, it seems like it could be so obvious of, like, the council in its, like, peak existing as this, like, holy order of protection, which is, like, what they're going for.
That is an interesting sort of spin on it.
Yeah, like, as a way to pitch it, like, you immediately know what they're going for there.
Yeah, like, what was the Jedi Council before it was the Jedi Council?
Yeah, and...
Do you think Yoda's on it?
I don't know if he's on it, or if he's going to be just, like, a master or a knight or what.
Well, when does this take place, Christian?
200 years before Episode 1.
Wow.
So Yoda is about 700.
So he's around.
Yeah. So, like, maybe approaching retirement age to join the council, but, like, maybe he's not on there yet. You know, maybe he's like, no, I just love the job too much. I don't want to.
Well, you don't have to necessarily be old to be on the council.
No, you don't. Anakin was on it.
Right.
Not granted the rank of master, but.
He was on the council.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, yeah, I think Yoda is definitely at least going to show up at some point, because this does take place on Coruscant at times. But, yeah, it's just very interesting. It's like close enough to feel familiar, but it's separated enough to like still feel unique for me.
Yeah, it definitely does feel unique. It feels like the prequels kind of.
Yeah, and I kind of like that.
In a weird, like, pristine sort of way.
Mm-hmm.
And also it leaves open the possibility for the Old Republic, in my opinion, because like, you know, they're all called different things, and High Republic seems like it would come after some sort of.
Yeah, because like, as it's been described, the Jedi are in their prime now, and the Old Republic, as we know, the Sith had an army of like lots and lots of red lightsabers.
Legit army.
So as far as the Jedi are concerned in this time period, the Sith are gone.
Yeah.
They won. So this whole thing kicks off with something known as the Great Disaster, I believe they referred to it, which is exploring what the Jedi would be afraid of. We saw on the freeze frame in the video of an idea board. We saw splintered Force users, so maybe like Jedi that defected.
Yep.
The state of the galaxy, the Republic hasn't like conquested everything. Like there's still unknown regions. There's still unexplored territory. They referred to it as the Wild West a few times.
Yeah, they say that they're like Jedi frontiersmen.
Yeah.
Which is like the coolest concept like of all time.
Yeah, it kind of gave me like Green Lantern vibes almost.
I'm not familiar with Green Lantern.
So each planet is assigned a Green Lantern. And I'm thinking we could take a similar approach with the Jedi here.
Like each planet's assigned its own band
like a
of
master and
Jedi.
apprentice. Like patrolling each planet that's in the unknown regions.
Very cool. Yeah, that's very cool.
That part's not confirmed. That's just something I would hope to see and kind of...
Speculation.
Yeah.
But
So-
yeah, the whole frontier thing is cool to me.
It's very cool. A lot of the concept art too, like seeing what looks like people that like went on the gold rush or whatever.
I want to see them like conquer planets that we know.
Yeah, and I'm really curious how they'd present it because as we saw with the Mandalore plot in Clone Wars recently, the Duchess, Satine, was very against the imperialization almost that came from the Republic.
Right.
So I wonder how they portray the Jedi doing that. Like, because they are going out into places they don't have a presence in yet and like taking over.
Yeah, it's like it's like a crusade almost.
Yeah,
Do you think they'll make it's definitely going to be an allegory?
for sure. Yeah.
That's
I think it's impossible to not be
yeah.
almost.
That's wild. Especially too since some of the Jedi have those cross sabers.
The crossguard sabers. Yeah.
Not to
Um,
jump ahead, but like
Oh, I know who you're talking about. That Wookiee.
does the Wookiee have
The Wookiee has a crossguard.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's like yeah.
I love it.
Wookiee Jedi, that's really cool.
Yeah. So the first book is from Charles Soule, the one you're talking about right now. It's called Light of the Jedi. It's coming out in August. The front cover of the book has 4 Jedi on it. There's a blonde woman, Chewie, a man next to the woman, and then a green Twi'lek. TBD still on how that's pronounced.
Yeah.
But
I think Twi'lek.
I forget what I said, but I think I say Twi'lek normally.
I don't know.
But regardless, it's 4 Jedi in really cool looking robes. The aesthetic of them on the cover, they said this is the temple garb. And then when they go out on their journeys, they're in more like rugged blue collar uniforms.
Interesting. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm interested to see just like how complex the books get into like the Jedi Order in this new canon.
I'm interested too, because we are focusing so far a lot on this is the peak of the Jedi. And they repeatedly drew back to the line Obi-Wan has in A New Hope. For over 1,000 generations, the Jedi stood as guardians of peace and order in the galaxy. And that mindset being explored here is like really interesting to me, because I feel like even with the prequels, we didn't get that.
No, I don't think we did. I think like the prequels were too preoccupied with telling like a specific story and trying to make it all work, which is like fine in its own right, but it didn't have the opportunity like this does to actually like kind of like get more into the lore of different institutions more than just the people
For sure.
and characters. If there's there's a way to do both.
Yeah, there is. And I think like taking a step back and looking at the prequels strictly from a lore perspective, I think in that we see the Jedi who are, like we've heard from lines in the films of like they were full of hubris. They thought they were gods. They thought everything they were doing was the right thing to do.
I don't think it does a very good job showing that.
No.
At times. Sometimes it does.
Yeah, like I think the one scene in the prequels that conveys that is Mace wanting to kill Sidious.
Right.
And that's what makes Anakin turn.
Yeah, I mean episode 3 in general, I think.
Yeah, that's the best
Yeah.
portrayal of it. So
But a book gives more opportunity.
definitely. And I think the High Republic talking about what scares the Jedi, and sort of from, like I was saying, from a lore perspective with the prequel, seeing where the Jedi are at, of being like, oh, we know, you know, like we're good.
Yeah.
We got it under lock and key.
Right.
What made them so confident and feeling like they were just soldiers, especially in the Clone War era, as opposed to the Guardians of Peace, which we're supposed to be seeing them as in this era?
Yeah, I think there's going to be some sort of like existential threat
For sure.
that they conquer and gain this like, oh yeah, no, we just like rule this whole galaxy kind of deal.
For sure. Speaking of threat,
Mm-hmm.
the main threat that is going to be connecting across all different stories in the High Republic are called the Nile, which are defined as space Vikings.
Cool.
I'm just glad it's not like a trooper as the enemy again.
Oh yeah, like an army of some sort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all have like a Mad Max vibe, kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
They got like scrappy gear.
Yeah, they're all wearing like masks and stuff.
Mm-hmm. They're cool. I like the design.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know anything. Like, what does that even mean, Viking? Like, do they just
I think,
plunder conquered territory?
yeah, probably like nomadic and going around stealing, pillaging, and taking what they want. And then the Jedi in the planets that they're trying to conquer have to be like, no, this is our
Naturally.
turf. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we get a lot of the conflict,
Okay.
you know, and the Jedi policing these planets are probably going to have a lot of encounters with gangs from the Nile and stuff like that.
Interesting.
And I think it, like, specifically calling them Vikings rather than pirates, as we've seen in Clone Wars, I think it just makes it come across more as like a, well, like the Vikings were very, what's the right, they, like, conquest was their thing. Like, they took villages and were like, we live here now.
Exactly. I think it does a better job showing that this time period in the Star Wars lore is still pretty like a Wild West.
Yeah.
And like if there are a bunch of pirates and stuff, it may come across differently.
For sure. Because I think when we get into the prequel era, pirates make more sense because there's so much like trade and commerce and stuff like that.
Yeah, this is more of like a, I don't know. Like I don't know.
Territorial.
Yeah, the transitional period.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see how that's reflected against the Jedi, who are basically doing the same thing and thinking that it's cool.
Yeah. I'm interested to just read about this new time.
Me too.
200 years really isn't that
It's not.
long.
The rumor was 400.
Yeah.
And then when I heard 2, I was like, oh, are we cool with this?
Are they going to go like throughout the entire 200 years up until the run up of
I really
Phantom
don't
Menace?
know.
That'd be kind of cool.
It would be like, are we gonna? So okay, this is actually funny you bring that up, because there are sort of defining this formative years for the galaxy. A time of galactic expansion. New hyperspace lanes have been created. So I wonder if we're going to see at the end of this all the trade blockade on these hyperspace lanes.
Oh my god.
How it all comes together.
It all comes together.
So the Charles Soule book. Charles Soule is writing the Kylo Ren comic you're reading.
Yep.
He wrote Vader.
Yep.
This seems to be poised as the book for the adults that they were mentioning, because in the video they said middle school, like grade school books, books for teens, books for adults, wide range.
Everybody can read the Star Wars books.
Yes. I just think that this book specifically, kicking it off, establishing the lore and everything, when I say for adult, I just mean more like wordy and political.
Yeah, they're big boy books.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's call them what they are.
sure. What was the way you graded books in advanced reading in grade school?
Oh my god. Yeah, with like a number system, right?
It was numbers or colors?
I think it was a number. I don't know.
Well, whatever. This is up there.
This
for
is
like
up there. Yeah.
the advanced reading group.
Yeah, this is no YA novel.
No. But we do have...
War and Peace, baby. How long do you think it's going to be?
Oh, I think it's confirmed. It's about 360 pages.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So nice little teaser.
Yeah, it's an easy book to read.
Yeah. And we are getting more content throughout the year, including one comic so far, I think, for this year, and then another book for middle grade area. That is called A Test of Courage. The main character of that is a 16-year-old Jedi Knight. She's the youngest person in the order to be granted the title of Knight.
so far.
so far, which I think is cool. That's a cool story to tell, I think.
Yeah, it's that's the children's book, not the comic, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that sounds interesting. I don't know if I'm gonna read that.
Yeah, I probably won't. The art looked more cartoony.
Yeah, it did.
But I think it's still a cool story to tell, you know, as far as like who the focus is.
Yeah, I'll definitely read the synopsis.
Sure. And that's written by Justina Ireland. And yeah, so again, no main character across the entire High Republic so far. We have a rotating cast. Like we mentioned with the Charles Soule book, the cover is very like hardcore sci-fi from like the 70s, 80s looking. This is cartoony. There was a character in the Soul cover who is also in the young adult book and the grade school book.
Is it the Wookiee?
I think it was the Twi'lek. You could see across
Oh, okay.
and see like the different art styles portraying that one character.
I see.
So there is a rotating cast.
Yeah. There's no one main character.
Yes. The two comics though. The
Was
first
there not another book?
there is. That's the last on here.
Okay.
Because I think that one's the farthest out. Because I don't know if we're getting two books this year.
I'm sorry. I thought we were.
It's all good. There's a lot to cover. Cavan Scott is writing a Marvel ongoing series called Star Wars: The High Republic, and it's primarily set on a space station called the Starlight Beacon, which is basically the Justice League Watchtower satellite thing that we saw in the concept art video, and is also on the cover of the Charles Soule book.
Yeah. It's like in the background.
Yes. So Starlight Beacon, it hovers above what I believe is Coruscant. I'm thinking that's where the Jedi Council is.
Ooh, they don't have like a land
A land base?
a land base like they do in the prequels.
No, because I think specifically because it's the Starlight Beacon, like a beacon of hope, looking up and seeing that floating, protecting above the planet.
The Jedi.
Yeah. Also, the architecture of it, you know how the Jedi Temple or the Jedi Council building is just this giant tower?
Yes.
It looks exactly like that,
It
just
does.
floating in space.
Okay, well then maybe you're right. I don't really know what it is.
But having the comic series that's going to be ongoing just take place there, I think is also going to give us a really good look into, like, obviously the visual style of what's going on with these Jedi, but probably the inner workings of, like, the nitty-gritty of the council.
Yeah. I mean, do we know that it's going to just take place on this? Like, they got to go to other places and stuff.
I'm sure they'd be open to it. I think the other comic series is going to be doing that. But if it's like a giant, almost like small city space station, I think there's a lot to cover there.
Okay, so it's really only going to be on this one.
As far as we know, yeah.
Okay. Sure.
I believe...
I wonder what happened to it.
Yeah. Well, like, I'm kind of wondering if this great disaster is that thing, like, falling from the sky.
Oh.
Because it's like,
Like
how
it
were
gets
we
attacked or
this
something.
blind? You know?
Right. Yeah, they don't learn from that.
No, they don't. But yeah, I think the Marvel series is interesting. The cover has to Nile on it, so if it is just taking place on the space station,
I gotta say, like, the first time I saw that, I was like, is this just concept art?
the cover,
Yeah, I was like, this looks like concept art for, like, a character model.
yeah, not like the most attention-grabbing
Cover.
for a comic, I would say,
Not at all.
but still, conceptually, I think it's an interesting thing to explore.
I'll pick it up.
Next up, Daniel Jose Older's story is being told through an IDW comic series called The High Republic Adventures. I think this is more in line with what you wanted based on what we just talked about. We're following younger characters, some learning about the Jedi and the Nile, characters that aren't on board fully with the Jedi,
Nice.
and young Jedi who are sort of experiencing the High Republic and like doing the day-to-day missions, stuff like that,
Yeah.
exploring.
Yeah, just that's what I want. I
Mhm.
just want a bunch of Jedi going out and, like, beating people up.
Yeah.
You know?
I
Just
think
like,
this is the one to look to that for.
yeah, this is what I want.
Cool art too. There's a really cool, I think, new alien on the cover of that one.
Nice.
He looks like a blue ram with like a beard and some nice outfit. Looks cool.
Cool.
There's him and one other character on the cover.
So there are Jedi,
Mm-hmm.
and there are people disillusioned with the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Are those Force users?
Potentially.
Ooh. Is this the Splinter group that we were talking about?
It could be.
Very cool.
It could also be these characters going to the unknown regions and being like, we're Jedi. And then things, they're like, what? Why do
Yeah.
we care?
That's true too.
Mm-hmm. So I'm really curious to see how both these comic series coexist and which one I end up settling into. I don't know if I will read both, but I'll give them both a shot.
I'll definitely read the books though.
Yeah. Finally, the second book we have announced from Claudia Gray,
Nice.
one of the most acclaimed Star Wars writers, I'd say.
Yep.
It's called Into the Dark. This is a YA novel. It's set around the adventures of a Padawan. And in describing him, she said he's the kind of Padawan who would prefer to read about adventures, but now he's leaving Coruscant and going to the frontier of the galaxy. It also includes a lot of non-Jedi frontier types who are amazed by the concept of something like Coruscant. So I think that's going to be probably the coolest book out of all these.
Wait, Frontier Jedi who are amazed?
Frontier types.
Oh, Frontier types.
So like exploring, running into people who live on the outskirts of everything.
This is the coolest one.
Yeah, and then this Jedi is going like, oh yeah, back in the library on Coruscant.
Yeah.
And they're
Oh,
like-
the planet that's just one big city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's really interesting. And again, all of this sounds very new as far as what it's covering.
Yeah, it does. When is that supposed to come out?
I don't think there's a date on that one. The only confirmed date so far is the Charles Soule book, Light of the Jedi, which is coming out in August, 2 days before Celebration. But that is all the content that we have announced and described from Project Luminous.
So, overall thoughts, Christian?
I mean, I think it's clear to see based on what we've said so far that I'm excited by this. As someone who really hasn't messed much with the EU, even when the now Legends was still the EU. I read a couple of the books. Some were good, some were bad. And I think as far as the new extended universe goes, most of what I've read have been comics.
Mm-hmm.
This is really cool because it doesn't feel like it's overwhelming. And it's clear from this list, there's things that I don't need to read and aren't meant for me.
And it's probably going to be fine
Yeah.
that you don't know those stories.
No, that's good because it's more approachable for me. Like,
Yeah.
as someone who doesn't have a ton of time to read novel after novel, seeing, okay, there's the Charles Soule novel, which is queuing this whole thing up. That's the first thing. Couple comics, I like comics. I can follow some comics.
Yeah, those are easy to follow.
And then the next one is a Claudia Gray book. Like, I'm in for those 4 things alone, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely I'm just really hyped about this, honestly. I wanted an excuse to read more Star Wars.
Yeah,
And this serves as the excuse.
absolutely. And I think a lot of people have that mindset probably.
For sure. And like you said, each of these stories kind of can stand alone on their own, which is going to make it a lot more accessible for really anybody to start picking these up.
Definitely. And I think that starting this new era and making it only be publishing right now, I think is also a really cool incentive for people to actually check out the EU, because I haven't felt a need to do that ever so far.
Yeah.
The stuff I've read is cool, but
Honestly, I'm not super interested in the EU anymore, just because it's not canon. And there's so much real canon out there now.
yeah, I meant modern EU.
Oh, modern EU.
So the book that took place between 8 and 9, The Resistance Reborn, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
I had no incentive to read that, because based on what I know of people who have read the books, they kind of retcon some of the stuff in the books. So I was like,
What's
why
the point?
why would I do that?
Yeah. Well, we know that they also retcon things in the movies.
Oh, they sure do.
In other movies.
But yeah, I think this being standalone in the fact that it's a new era, I think that worry is gone, Because if I want new Star Wars stuff, I can just look to this.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's a new way to take it in. Just like how we've been sort of diving into Star Wars TV.
Yeah, I think it's like I don't know. Disney's just really smart, and this is going to be very good for them.
Moment of silence for Bob Iger.
Moment of silence for Bob Iger, by the way. Yeah.
You were saying?
Anyways, I'm just excited. I think I've said what I have to say on the subject.
Very cool. Well,
also, I think there is another piece of news that we don't have on here.
we can get to that in 1 second. I have one last point to make.
All right.
So what we talked about before about being hopeful that this could branch out into other multimedia. I think the specific thing that we've seen with these projects, with what they've said and what they pitched in that video, of there being no central main character, just a cast we're familiar with most of them based on what books we choose to read and what projects we go into. I don't think that if we were going to get a film in the High Republic, we would get a main character in these projects. Because as cool as this is, as awesome as it is for people to find a new way to appreciate Star Wars content and storytelling, there's no way they would have introduced Rey in a book 2 years before a movie comes out, you know?
Yeah, it seems like a big tee up just for a movie series.
Yeah, just to get familiar with the world at this time.
Yeah.
You know? So I think that door is open. Specifically, the thing that stood out to me is because there's no main character. Because if there was, it would be like, oh, why aren't they the main character of the movies? It's like, because nobody read the books.
Yeah, that's true.
So, exciting times, though. New
Very
era.
exciting times. That other piece of news, the Rise of Skywalker is coming to digital and DVD on some day.
I can fact check this.
Please fact check.
Do we know if it's coming to Disney Plus the same day?
So I would assume that it would just go to Disney Plus the day that it's released digitally. I don't know that for sure, though. I think this is something that we should say on the pod.
Rise of Skywalker will arrive on digital on March 17th and on 4K and Blu-ray on March 31st.
There you go.
The home release will contain over 2 hours of bonus material.
Very cool.
I hope there's a documentary on there.
I hope there is too, and I hope it's on Disney Plus because I'm not buying this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm buying it either. I love The Last Jedi. You know how much I love it, but I don't even own that on Blu-ray because it was on Netflix.
Yeah, and it's all on Disney Plus now, so what's the point?
Oh, we do have an insight into the bonus features if you'd like to run through them quick.
Sure.
The Skywalker Legacy, a feature-length documentary that charts the making of the Rise of Skywalker.
There you go. Exactly what you wanted.
Pasana Pursuit, creating the speeder chase, desert planet. Aliens in the desert, so I guess going into the design of them. Dio, a key to the past. Explore the ship that connects Rey to the mystery of her parents. Warwick and Son. Warwick Davis, who played Wicket, returns, dons the Ewok costume again, this time joined by his son Harrison. Cast of creatures. The team behind the film's most memorable creatures reveal the puppetry, makeup, prosthetics. And digital exclusive. Hopefully Disney Plus as well. The Maestro's finale. Composer John Williams reflects on his body of work for the Star Wars saga and shares insights on scoring. Tross.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait to watch all these illegally.
That was all via Collider, by the way.
Yeah.
But, like we said at the top of this, big week for news.
Big week for news. How long did we just spend just going at it?
That was 45 minutes.
I guarantee you this next segment's going to be much less.
Oh, yeah. But any final thoughts? And what are you most excited for?
Most excited for the Charles Soule novel, honestly. I just kind of want to read more about this era, get myself into it, much like everybody else. And, yeah. Cool. I'm just excited for it all.
Me too. The book I've been looking at to get is Master and Apprentice. It's about Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon by Claudia Gray.
It's like $5 on Amazon.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if I should check that out to see like what the vibe is going to be for her new story about an apprentice. But the Charles Soule book, I think, is a cool place to start this all, because if it's focusing just on the Jedi and the Order and the era, that makes more sense than what the new canon was started with. I think it was like a prequel to Rebels or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So exciting times, though.
Very, very, very excited.
We're going to take a short break, though. When we come back, Clone Wars.
This is where the fun begins.
Welcome back. We're now going to have a discussion about the Clone Wars this week.
As we do every week.
Yes.
Yeah.
The acclaimed series.
The acclaimed series.
Star Wars The Clone Wars. It's back now.
It is back now, officially.
I've managed to dodge spoilers.
Yeah, I have no idea what happens in the first one.
I know the title of the first episode. That's it.
Something brains.
No, The Bad Batch.
Yeah, whatever.
Speaking of Bad Batch, we kicked this episode off with ARC Troopers.
You don't like this episode?
No, I'm saying Bad Batch because 99.
Oh, right. Okay.
Who, man, I knew it was coming, but like, oof.
Yeah, I know, that's sad.
That was sad.
I thought that meant that you didn't like this episode.
Oh no. I really liked this one.
Yeah, this episode ruled.
Yeah, and it's funny as someone who's played a lot of Battlefront recently.
Right, I know.
The Camino map is this episode.
It literally is this episode. I was always wondering like what that is in Battlefront.
Yeah, I loved this episode. It was really cool.
This episode is so cool.
Cuz it's like just it's a Battlefront mission, you know? It's like a Battlefront match.
There's really not much to it other than like
just that. Yeah,
like,
I like that about it cuz it plays it straightforward. It's cool seeing the clones that we've become familiar with, who's left of them, Fives and Echo, seeing them lead their side of the mission, rank up by the end of the episode to become ARC Troopers.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, I love that progression because the thing is, like, we both of us were really like high on those clone episodes at the beginning. So seeing them like sort of continue their arc,
clone cadets. Right?
Yeah, it's cool.
It is really cool.
It's
though most of them are dead now.
Yeah, it's like, honestly, I kind of wish I saw a little more of this in the show so far. And again, we are watching an abridged version of it. But like seeing the clones level up and like have character development, I think is really cool.
Yeah, it just every time that they're on screen alone, like it's like two clones on screen.
Yeah,
I'm like, this is the best.
Yeah, it's great
because it just does wonders for really just the world.
Yeah, I love that line in this episode when they're getting promoted at the end, and Rex is like, "You remind me of me." I was like,
I didn't even notice that, but that's funny.
But yeah, I loved this episode. It's really cool, and like what you said, it's the exact same thing as the Battlefront match because like those tentacle droids are like destroying the stuff and like.
Well, you know what's funny? In the beginning of this episode, one of the clones says, you know, to Anakin and Obi-Wan, they're like, "That's our home world. Like we have to protect it." And I was thinking to myself, like, "But what are you talking about? Like it's not really your home world. Like you're just manufactured on this."
Yeah, and like, I don't know if this like is newish canon, but apparently that cadet question I had before, they must take them out and then they just grow very fast. I think that's probably what it is.
It might be, yeah.
So
because they show up again.
Yeah, so it seems like they grew up there still because I think in the movies they said the first like wave of troopers was 10 years to grow. So maybe they do have a life for 10 years, but they become like a 35-year-old soldier
pretty soon
within 10 years.
Yeah.
So I get it from that perspective, but yeah, there is like less of an attachment, you know.
Yeah, and this episode just did a good job for humanizing the clones.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was very on board with this one.
Yeah, this is one of the best ones that we watched.
I agree.
To be honest.
Yeah, because like it did my favorite things about an arc, but it did in one episode, and I was surprised that it managed to hit those highs.
Yeah.
Also, Obi-Wan had his Grievous encounter.
Was that his only Grievous encounter?
I don't know. I think because that was a question I had, and I actually thought about this because Obi-Wan was like, "I'll take Grievous, you go after Ventress." So like, are they dancing around the fact that there's that one line of Revenge of the Sith where Anakin's like, "Oh, I thought you'd be taller," or something like that?
Yeah.
Because that's his first time seeing him.
Yeah, well, I think Grievous says like, "Oh, I thought someone with your reputation would be a little
right, okay,
older."
Yeah, swapped.
Yeah, and then he says,
So yeah, I thought that was neat. I was like, so was Ventress just here to give Anakin like an adversary?
I guess so. probably.
And it was cool seeing Grievous and Ventress go back and forth too as like sort of rivals.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I liked Anakin, or not Anakin, but like Obi-Wan fighting Grievous outside on Camino. It was very like Attack of the Clones
For sure.
reminiscent. It obviously supposed to be, but very cool.
Yeah, really good episode.
Yeah.
Next up, the hostage situation.
Yeah, this one was with Cad Bane.
Yes. Cad Bane, Arsing, Bubble Brain was the only name that short guy was given. So I was like, is that his real name or is that an insult? Don't know.
Who knows?
But I thought this one was good.
Yeah, I actually, this is one of the ones that I watched like 2 episodes ago. And I was like, oh, I watched once.
The wrong one.
Yeah, but I rewatched it for this, and yeah, it's just as good as I remembered it. I remember I was kind of upset that we didn't get to talk about it.
Yeah. But yeah, I really dug this one because, again, it gave us another perspective on the characters and everything and really made it feel more in line with the prequels.
Yep.
Because Anakin and Padme had screen time, and it felt authentic to the way we know them.
It did. Also, that senator got murked in the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Ruthless.
Yeah. That was brutal.
Also, Padme with a lightsaber.
Yeah, that was cool. It was cool how she was like hiding it the whole time, and
Yeah.
Organa was just like clueless to it all. Also, Anakin like strokes her face when he wakes up around like 8 other senators. It's like, hey.
Oh my god, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, like she wakes up and she's like, I don't remember if she says Annie or Anakin, but she's playing it cool this whole time of like, oh, the Jedi left his lightsaber, but when he wakes up and
They were
like,
smooching.
he's like, oh, Padme.
So glad to see you, Padme. While Bail Organa's watching. Yeah.
Yeah. But seeing them have time together, seeing them, again, sort of like fleshing out more of their relationship, I think is going to do wonders for me by the time we hit the tragic finale of these characters' plots.
It already has.
Yeah.
So far.
For other characters, for sure. I think for Obi-Wan so far, it's really built that up for me. So the next time I watch their fight, I'm going to feel some things.
Yeah.
But I've been wanting to see him with Padme more. So I think this episode I liked a lot, too, for that reason.
Definitely.
Um,
Zero the Hutt, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was stupid.
Yeah. So, like,
I don't get it.
why would Zero want to go to the Outer Rim away from Coruscant where they know Jabba is going to try to kill them?
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. He also kind of just like showed up in this episode out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'm sure it's explaining something we didn't watch, but like,
Maybe.
yeah, it felt needless. Also, while we're on the topic of like things that don't make sense, why does nobody use the Force in like MacGuffin moments? Like, there's so many times where there's like something there, or like Obi-Wan could just get his lightsaber. It's like, dude, you can do it.
Yeah, you can literally just use the Force, Jedi.
Yeah, and it's not like that's not how the Force works. It's like, no, that's how it works.
That's literally how the Force works.
Yeah, like the thing that stood out to me was when last week's arc, when the guy jumped off the spy or the Death Watch guy jumped off himself.
Uh-huh.
I was like, Obi-Wan, you could have caught him and interrogated him.
That's true.
Like, just bring him back to you and be like, no.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's been a handful of moments almost every week.
There has been, yeah, because there's always a moment where like the Jedi loses his lightsaber and it's like behind his opponent.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, just
do it.
Just get it.
I always forget to bring it up, but yeah.
Yeah.
Because like, I think Ventress, like I was thinking that about something in one of the episodes, and then Ventress like used the Force to get away. I was like, oh, thanks. You thought through.
Yeah, you could. All the other characters could have done that too.
Yeah. The next episode. Heroes on Both Sides.
This is my favorite.
The classic line from the opening crawl.
I love that line so much.
Well, I think you liked this one more than me.
Yeah, I did like this one a lot, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little political.
Yeah, it was good. Like, I was in it for that.
Yeah.
Just like less of like this. I think the setup of the episode prior, I don't know what I was expecting to come out of it, but like the fact that it was just basically like cut to the actual deliberation over what they were going to.
Yeah.
What stood out to you the most for this? Like, what did you like the most out of it?
I don't know. I like the political aspect of it, to be honest.
Mhm.
I liked the dynamics between Padme and Ahsoka. I thought that was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool when like they do these adventures with Ahsoka because they kind of focus on her,
Yeah.
and you get to kind of see it through her eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I liked them going behind enemy lines and like I don't know, it's just kind of fun.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah. I was kind of upset we honestly didn't get Ahsoka much until this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I'm really into seeing her character and like seeing her as a foil for Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like seeing her and Padme interact was fun. Seeing the episode prior be about finally seeing Anakin and Padme interact and
Yeah,
like
no,
seeing
it's the opposite.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. I liked that aspect of it.
Yeah, I mean it's just cool to see Ahsoka. You could tell that she's just completely brainwashed. Which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Super cool to watch that.
And knowing where she goes.
Yeah, knowing where she goes, like
I'm interested to see how she gets there.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, those were the 3 individual episodes. I think what we've done most weeks so far, when there are sometimes a standalone bunch and then an arc, I think all 3 of these by far are the strongest singular episodes we've watched.
Yes. I have to be honest, I think I liked the singular episodes more than I liked the arc.
To an extent, yeah, I think, because like the arc we watched this week was 312, 313, 314, Night Sisters Monster, which is the Mist. And it was sort of addressing something that a lot of us probably wondered of like, so what happens with Ventress? Like, where does she stick around for a while? Like,
Yeah.
where does she go? Why isn't she in 3? And we see that Dooku is like on the same page as us.
Yeah.
Because he tries to get her killed.
He thinks he did it
Yeah.
for a while.
He does. So with this arc, like, I don't know what I was expecting. Well, I know what I was expecting out of it. I think I had the standard of the Dathomir stuff from Fallen Order,
Yeah.
and like the
It was
characters.
different.
Yeah, the characterization of the Night Sister, not like the singular Night Sister in Fallen Order's case. Knowing the characterization of her there versus like when things were relatively okay still, like. Yeah, it was cool seeing magic. It was cool seeing what I assume is the introduction of this concept.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think you're supposed to play Fallen Order before you watch this.
Yeah.
To be honest.
So for like a first shot, what they like gave us was interesting. I think the way we took it in with Fallen Order of like, I knew nothing about the Night Sisters or like witches and magic in Star Wars. So like seeing it as a mystery that unfolds through Merrin, really liked. Seeing it here as like an established thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, different lens, different way to approach it, but I think it's less layered than how it's presented later.
Yeah, well, I think just because of what happens to this,
Yeah, I agree.
makes it more layered in the future for Merrin.
Definitely. And obviously that's like jumping around of like a story that you know the ending to, and
Right.
sometimes it's not going to work out. But
Yeah.
I think for what we have, it's cool.
Yeah.
New corner.
I guess so. I'm just not really convinced by Asajj Ventress. I don't really care about her character. So like I had a hard time kind of getting into this.
I'd say she's the most cartoony character.
Yeah, like she just kind of seems out of place in a way.
Yeah. And going back to what we saw with her and Grievous, like seeing Grievous, who is a tactician, and I would say in this series he's in line with the way we see him in 3.
Yeah.
Seeing her bounce off of him in the way he just is like, oh, you're the assassin. Like you follow orders. That's it. That's your role. It's hard to like not care about her as a character from like a standpoint of like I'm rooting for you, but like care as in like I have no pull to follow this story along.
Yeah.
Where we end up teasing Darth Maul,
Mm-hmm.
I think is the highlight of this.
Yeah, but we gotta wait till the end of the 3 episode arc for that.
Yeah, that's fair.
I do like how this in I think the second episode we kind of see Asajj Ventress's backstory.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah.
And I think goes a little way to like make her more of a fleshed out character and go beyond the cartooniness of it.
Yeah, but it doesn't do it for me, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I agree because like it is fleshing her out. It is giving her a backstory, but I still don't think it's very layered. You know, like it's not complex. And yeah, there's gonna be some aspects of this show that aren't complex. You know.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, oh, she was an assassin for Count Dooku, and then he disowned her, and she got sad, and so she went back home.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't know like where to pin that as far as like why it doesn't work for me. And I don't think it's because this is a character that's exclusive to the series, because Ahsoka is too, and I really like Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's just that it's the villain.
I don't know. I just didn't think she really brought anything to the villain table. That is,
Mm-hmm.
like, I just thought she was just like, oh, the Jedi need another Sith to.
Yeah, she's there so Anakin can have a lightsaber fight.
Yeah, like,
that's the vibe I got.
That's the vibe that I always got from her. Like, oh, like this episode's lacking in lightsaber fights. Bring in Asajj Ventress.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But Savage.
I don't even understand that.
Yeah.
They're brothers.
They are brothers.
Doesn't make sense. One of them's yellow, one of them is red.
Yeah.
Pick one.
Like maybe, I didn't think of it this way. Like the Night Sisters. The whatever they're called in
Oh, yeah.
brothers.
Whatever they are.
They're not Night Brothers, are they?
No. Yes?
Watch Brothers, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, so maybe it's like that angle of like
maybe they're not literally brothers.
like blood brothers, but like, oh, you're my brother, Anakin, like that.
Maybe, yeah.
Cool seeing another Zabrak, because I don't think we've seen any other in canon so far up to this point.
There's like a tribe that the Anakin and Obi-Wan almost murked.
Yeah, but it's cool seeing them fleshed out more through him. I think Maul is cooler, personally.
I think so too. Yeah.
But again, it's another character that is, as far as I know, exclusive to the show. Probably gonna end up dead. So like, I'm curious to see where he goes, where Maul goes with him, and how, if at all, that tees up where Maul is in Solo.
I kind of just want to know where. Yeah. Do you think we'll get the answer to that in the new season of the Clone Wars?
About like the Crimson Dawn stuff?
Mm-hmm. Like why is he on Dathomir and stuff?
Maybe because like, does Rebels? I know Maul is in Rebels,
Mm-hmm.
but like, is that after Solo? Do we know?
Yeah, because spoiler, but not really. Maul dies in Rebels.
Okay. Does he die or does he like die?
Oh, he dies.
Okay. I mean, he died the first time in like 99.
Yeah, well, he dies.
Okay.
In this one.
No,
I'll say nothing more than that.
Mm-hmm. I think like I knew that, but like, I feel like they would just want to keep Maul in their back pocket just in case.
No, he like dies. In
Okay.
This one. Like for sure, like they do it in a way that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that.
That's all I'm gonna say.
But yeah, I hope by next week we have. So let me bring up what we have for next week. Next week, we have our 6 episodes are just straight up 2 arcs.
Cool.
And get this, they're all in sequential order.
Nice.
Finally.
Yeah, it looks like we have 3 arcs coming. Four
coming
arcs.
out. 5. We have a lot of arcs coming up.
Well, we would go from here to there.
Oh, you are right. Yep. Anyway, season 3, episode 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Overlords, Altar of Mortis, Ghosts of Mortis, The Citadel, Counterattack, and Citadel Rescue.
These ones sound good.
They do.
So we'll see.
Mortis.
The Dagger of Mortis.
Yes, that I learned about in the hype cycle for 9.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, there's a Mortis thing. Okay.
Yeah. What's up with that dagger Ray has? Is that the Dagger of Mortis?
Yes, because as we know in Star Wars, if there's one thing, that's the only thing that can be like that.
Yes, there's only one dagger.
Well, any final thoughts on this week's eps?
Like I said, I like the single individual ones better than the arc.
Me too. So,
But I think we've had a worse week actually in the past.
oh yeah, but it looks like it's only going up, especially because we're seeing less like canceled out episodes on our guide.
Yeah, that's a good indication
Mhm.
of this. And also season 3, the level of visual quality of season 3 leaps and bounds beyond season 2, which is leaps and bounds beyond season 1.
Yeah, and I think like mostly it just comes down to the animation, not like the designs or anything.
No, yeah, it is mostly the animation, you're right.
Which is nice to see. And then from what I've seen of the new season, looks like that just gets like cranked up to 11.
Well, yeah, now they got that
This hair physics.
They got that Mickey Mouse money now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going to wrap episode 22. Mike, where can the people find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Mike P. Connors.
Very nice. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris N. Buckley. If you're watching the show, if you see us talking, you're on youtube.com/joyclicks, where we have every other episode of this show, as well as some other things that you can check out.
All 22 episodes of it.
Yes. If you're listening to the show, you might be on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Either way, that's cool. If you like the show, share it with your friends. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, you can leave a review if you enjoyed it. And that is helpful.
It's very helpful.
It's very, very helpful.
Also, in the description, I'm pretty sure you're going to put the link to our Patreon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, give us money.
If you're interested, you can check it out. I think that wraps this week. Do you think we're going to have any crazy breaking news next week?
No, I think we've kind of exhausted the news for the next few weeks. To be
For a
honest.
while, yeah.
Yeah.
So, before we go.
Oh, wow. That was, yeah, okay.
Sorry. We don't have to spend like much or any time on this, but via Jason Schreier of Kotaku, EA canceled another Star Wars game.
Did they really?
They did.
Which one? Not the Respawn one.
No, it was, I forget who is developing it or was, but it was an open world Battlefront spinoff, which just sounds great.
That does sound good.
But
it sounds a little like the Old Republic.
Yeah, and like, it's crazy.
Well, I'm just saying like the MMO, the Old Republic.
Oh, how so?
It just sounds. I mean, like an open world Battlefront game.
Okay, pulling from Kotaku. Last
Actually,
spring,
that doesn't make any sense. Disregard what I said.
Last spring, EA canceled a spin-off Star Wars game titled, or codenamed Viking, a spin-off of the popular Battlefront series, and is the third game they've canceled since 2017. It was originally going to come out fall 2020 along next-gen consoles. That's what I was saying the past, 6 weeks.
It's all right. There was also some rumors going around that Fallen Order 2.
This year?
Not this year.
What do you mean?
I'm
just
saying
like conceptually?
that there were rumors going around saying that they were it was in development.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I assume as soon as they saw all those scores, they were like, okay, back to work.
Yeah, I'm just saying that it's the rumor mill is turning,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one of them.
So yeah, canceled another Star Wars game.
Not surprising.
No, EA Vancouver, I believe.
Not surprising.
As well as Criterion, who did work on Battlefront, but they chalked it up to too many cooks. Which, sure, but it's been...
Sorry.
It's been a while, but it's been 7 years.
Yeah, has been.
Got 3 games.
Well, their contract will expire soon enough.
Well, maybe now that we have a new Bob in charge of Disney, they'll bring it somewhere else. Because as of, I think last spring, Iger was like, we're pleased with the reports and sales of our partnership with EA and their Star Wars games.
Well, was that after Fallen Order?
No.
Oh.
Which was the shocking thing.
I think Fallen Order. I think I wouldn't be surprised if they gave EA another.
I think after Fallen Order for sure. Yeah. I think they're probably going to sign down another 7-8 years and be
well, I think EA's probably figured it out.
I hope.
I would hope.
Yeah, and we are getting a new Lego Star Wars game this year, which...
Huge hype for that.
Yeah.
Huge hype. unbelievable hype for that.
I'm waiting for them to show stuff for it.
Yeah, they've showed nothing.
There's a trailer. That's it.
It's like not. Yeah,
It's like cinematics.
Cinematics. So it's not even the actual gameplay.
It sounds mind blowing though, because like all the reports are saying it's like a full open world. You can go planet to planet, third person shooter stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'm
Like
thinking,
barely a Lego game.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. It
Yeah.
really sounds awesome. I think we might see something maybe at PAX
That could be cool. I'll look out for that.
or something maybe E3 ish.
By E3 for sure.
By E3 for sure.
So look forward to that.
Yeah.
But until next time, we're fine. Everything's fine. How are you?
May the force be with you.
General Kenobi.